Hey guys, so it's Zach here with you for CanFit Auto Accessories. Today I'm going to run you through a Harley V Rod which we finished most recently. This particular V Rod is a 2016 model V Rod, and we fitted a bunch of different stuff to this particular bike. Now it's not something we would normally do here with CanFit, obviously being a auto accessories or car accessories fitter. The motorcycles we don't tend to get as many of, or customers with inquiries for, but ultimately the systems are very similar. It's really just the size and the layout that's different, and this one was a really cool project for a friend of mine that I decided to take on. This V Rod that was brought in, as I said, is a 2016 model. It has been now fitted with some new mirrors. So we've got new mirrors sitting up underneath the handlebars rather than on top. So it really gives this clean look to the whole thing. It really gives a really nice finish to the whole thing, and I think it really tidies the front of the bike up, which the customer agrees is the same outcome. In the rear pair, now the rear pair is a really interesting setup as well, because in the rear, not only do you get the flashing indicator, which you'll see here, but you get a park light, which you can see left and right there of the back of the bike, and then you also get that same multifunction which will do the stop light. So it's a three-way combination light in a globe that's literally like this big. So it's a really good setup. The other part of the job that we had the pleasure of doing with this was the rear airbags in replacement or in place of the rear shocks. So the rear shocks in this bike are typically just a spring with a shock inside, a normal coilover kind of setup that you'd see in a lot of different cars, bikes, etc. These ones are now fully adjustable with a sleeve style airbag that moves up and down. They're made by a company called Arrnot. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, but the Arrnot suspension has the pump up and down functionality, normally with just a simple press button. This particular kit that we fitted came then with the upgrade to a pressure display. So you'll see that pressure display up here now in this video, and the pressure display drops or pumps up with the air compressor. So it gives the customer now a much easier way of keeping track of exactly what's happening with the height of the bike. If you know that with you on the bike, the rear air pressure raises up to say 18-20 psi, then you know it's a certain height. You know that if you've got a passenger on the back seat and you're running a higher pressure, you can see that readout on the gauge anyway. Those same shocks have got some adjustment with them, which you'll be able to see briefly as well on this video, where the section of the rear shock itself has a little dampener adjustment just on top of the shock, and that particular adjustment gives you the ability to tension those shocks up, so when you're running different air pressures you can maintain a similar feel, even despite if you've got a passenger on the back. You've got some adjustment. So really good setup, and I would highly recommend it if you've got a Harley and you want that low stance and the ability to pump it up with a passenger on the back. That kit. So the last part in this fit out that we did was a number plate mount that goes down on the swing arm. So if we're sitting at the back of the bike, it's on the left hand side of the bike, and that swing arm or that number plate mount mounts to the back of the shock mount. It's curved, so when you're looking at it in this video from the back of the bike, that particular plate sits there kind of curved on a similar curve to what the wheel is, or what the sprocket is that's there at the back of the bike, and it takes everything away from that back tail end of the bike. So it really tidies all of that up, and gives it a very tidy overall look. And this bike was already factory with the stop tail light in the middle of the rear fender, so it's just now finished off. It's got that kind of custom look to it without being way over the top. It's just a really clean bike. So that's it for the V Rod, guys. This one was a really great project. Like I said at the beginning, it's not something that I get into frequently, but it's something that hopefully we can see a few more of into the future. Really learned a lot working on the bike, and I've got a real sense for what needs to be done with that project now. Now, before I go, I just want to say that we are moving into our YouTube video, getting some more content together to get some bits and pieces launched on there. So if you're not currently following along on our YouTube channel, you'll find a link for that in our bio on our social pages, or also via our link tree. You will find that. There's a lot of other exciting stuff that's coming up. I would give a big shout out as well to James and Michaela, who are from Guilty Apparel. I got some gear off them over the weekend, and there are a couple of guys that I've been following along for a while with, and they just do cool stuff. If you want to support some local Australian people, and if you're in Canberra especially, they're based here, they're doing it big, and they're trying to get to being a real global brand, and I respect them for that. I think it's fantastic what they're doing, so big shout outs to them as well, guys. That's it from me today. Until next time, take it easy, stay tuned for more, and I'll catch up with you all soon.